Hey everybody, my name is Chris, and behind me we have a 1987 Toyota Camry. Now before I get started with that, I just want to let you know that my plan here is to do a few videos of some of my cars and some other cars that I run across. I have a particular affection towards station wagons and manual transmission vehicles. Manual transmission vehicles and a station wagon combined is the ultimate vehicle, but today we're going to be looking at a 1987 Toyota Camry. Now, if this goes well, I'll do some additional videos. I have some additional cars that are pretty cool that I'd like to share with you. If not, then this will be the first and only episode. So I want to shout out Manual Elitist Jerks, Manual Wagon Elitist Jerks, and Wagon Elitist Jerks on Facebook. All of those groups are pretty cool. They have the belief that manual transmission vehicles are elite, automatic transmission vehicles are scum, and of course wagons are dope. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the 1987 Camry wagon here. So I got this vehicle a few weeks ago. It is for the, sorry about that, just trying to get this camera stick right. Again, it's 1987. It is automatic transmission, 4-cylinder, 2.4 liter. This one was actually purchased from a donations auction. So it was donated. Usually in situations like that, someone may have passed away or stopped driving or whatever the case is. I don't clean these up and spit shine them and all of that stuff before doing a video. I just want to show it to you exactly as it is. Does have a couple of very light surface rust spots on it on some of these edges. Someone spent an awful lot of time waxing this car. I mean, there's just wax residue in every single crevice. It's wax residue everywhere, even on the lens. So pretty cool car, runs really good. I have driven it several hundred miles already. One of the best parts about the car is the interior. These seats look amazing. Again, it is still a little bit dirty. Does have automatic seat belts. Automatic seat belts I had in my 1990 Honda Accord, but in that car, they actually separated up here. You could press a button and they would go down. With these automatic seat belts, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to also use them in conjunction with the lap belt. So once the seat belt goes back, then you latch the lap belt, but most people just use the shoulder belt and that's it. Back seat looks just as decent and comfortable. Let's lift up the hatch here. It's like something was going on there. Somebody had some tape on there for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. I did notice that there's like a little squeaking when you're driving and it's coming from the back. So maybe that's why. Since the back was locked, I can go ahead and show you that there is actually a separate lock for the tailgate, a separate power lock for the tailgate, and that would open that. And thought that was a pretty neat feature since this car has some other more antiquated features. So it does have the cover to go over the cargo bay area. I always like looking under here, and in this section of the car, if something is holding moisture or water or whatever, you can always see it back here. Everything looks great. No moisture, no smells or funny stuff like that back here. I do want to talk about a few of the options that this car has and does not have. The first thing I want to point out is that this car has manual windows. Some of the young people have never seen this before, but this was the norm back in the day. Regular roll-up manual windows. Now, having said that, it has manual windows, but it has power mirrors. Very, very strange combination. I already mentioned the power back latch for the tailgate. It also has cruise control. It does have a tilt wheel, so you can move the wheel up and down. This vehicle only has, see if I can zoom in, 118,000 miles on it. So that is it, just a very low 118,000 miles. It does have a tape player. Now, for those of us who were around back then, we would know that these were pretty fancy. All push button, you know, just a couple of knobs for the volume and bass and treble and fade. Does have climate control, doesn't have the knobs. You know, this also would have been considered a little bit fancier in its day. But again, this vehicle has roll-up windows, so whoever ordered this was, I guess, had a sense of humor. Also has intermittent wipers for the front, and it also has a wiper in the back with intermittent option as well. Ashtray, this is the thing that is the most interesting, is that these are 1987 cup holders. It's basically just a piece of plastic that goes in and you can bring it out, and that's the size that you're going to get, and that's the only cup holders in this vehicle. One thing to note is that that is par for the course for BMW through the 2010s. I have a 2010 535 manual wagon that, if interested, I will do a video on that one day. It happens to be in the shop. Anybody who knows about the BMW N54 will understand why. All right, 3-speed automatic transmission. I do not think it's a 4. I think it's a 3. Perhaps it's a 4 with the overdrive. I'm not sure. I think it's a 3 with the overdrive. I'm sure someone will correct me. Overdrive button on and off here. It also has a standard Toyota normal and power button that will just make the transmission shift a little differently, a little more aggressively when it's in power mode. This lift up for emergency means something. I'm not exactly sure what yet. I think it has something to do with the seat belts. Rear defroster, and of course the emergency flashers. The air conditioning is not currently blowing cold in here. I'm not exactly sure why, but I will see if it just needs a squirt of Freon. Those people who are old enough to remember will recognize these slots. There are a couple of these slots here, and there is those slots right here. Those slots were actually used back in the day for change. Going through a drive-through, or especially going through tolls, it was nice to have some change readily available. There's another tray down here that probably would have had change in it back in the day. This is before easy passes, before tap to pays and all of that stuff. You actually had to have physical money. All right, let's take a quick peek under the hood. All right, this is Toyota's 2-liter 3SFE 4-cylinder engine. No strange leaks, no weird noises. Actually runs really, really good. Looks like there was a new starter at some point. Nothing, no smoking, no weird shifting. I've noticed absolutely nothing in the several hundred miles that I've driven it. It runs really, really nicely. So since I have the hood up, let me just go ahead and start it up, because it's something else I want to show. Something else I want to show you. All right, you notice that the seatbelt went back when I started the vehicle up. One cool thing I want to show you is the antenna. So this has a power antenna, and you're going to notice that when you turn on the radio, the antenna comes up. Turn off the radio, the antenna goes down. That was high tech, 1987. Usually you just had a single mast antenna that stayed in place. So we have a power antenna and roll up windows. All right, here is the Toyota 2-liter 16-valve 3SFE engine. That sounds great, runs great, no weird noises. And I'll do a driving video shortly, just so you can see a few driving impressions. One of the things about this car is that in order to get the key out, you have to press a little button. Now, I think Mazdas and Fords did this as well, but if you turn the key off and try to pull it out, it's not going to work. But you'll notice there's a button right there. Hopefully you can see that. There's a button right there. You got to press that button, then turn it in order to get the key out. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this portion of the video on this 1987 Toyota Camry wagon. Show you the headliner, and you could still have vanity in 1987 with your mirror and the sun visor. The headliner's in good shape. And we're going to do a driving video here shortly. We'll put these together and we'll see what happens. All right, I'm going to hope that that's positioned okay and everybody can at least see something. Let's go ahead and go for a little drive. Now, as I mentioned before, the air conditioning is currently not blowing cold. So I'm just going to crack these windows, but I have on a microphone, so hopefully you will be able to hear me. Just going to go for a little drive and see how she feels and how it runs. Thing does not have a ton of power. This car has about 115 horsepower, but it has Toyota reliability, so it's not built for speed. It's more utilitarian. Nowadays, everybody wants SUVs and crossovers, so station wagons have very, very little popularity. I happen to love them. If you look at a station wagon, some people, they don't appeal to some people, but it's really nothing more than a short SUV. Some people like the ground clearance of an SUV. Of course, the newer ones have a lot more amenities. I don't necessarily see, with the exception, of course, of longer ones with third rows, that much difference between them and station wagons. Let me get out here on a faster road here in just a second. All right, so I was actually doing another video and I noticed that the sound quality was extremely poor, even with the microphone on. So I don't know if something was going on with the microphone or what, but thought I would just try to do another quick one to attach to the first part of the video. Just letting everyone know that runs, drives, and shifts good. Does not have a ton of power, only 115 horsepower in this Camry wagon. Not built for speed, more utilitarian. A lot of people prefer SUVs and crossovers to station wagons. Station wagon to me is nothing more than a short SUV, with the exception, of course, of the third row SUVs. They have more ground clearance, the crossovers, and SUVs like, that Cadillac right there, which I would probably consider that a crossover, perhaps an SUV, whatever. But it is, the main difference is the ground clearance. I mean, both of them can carry 4 or 5 people comfortably, plenty of cargo room. Station wagons have just fallen out of favor for whatever reason. I have a Buick Roadmaster wagon that, again, if I find that these videos garner some interest, I'll do another video on that. And I love my Roadmaster. I really, really like this Camry, but I won't go so far as to say I love it. So I probably won't be keeping this one forever. More than likely, I'll be selling this one sometime in the nearer future. I also wanted to give these cars a big guy score. So I'm a pretty large guy, but I'm very comfortable in here. The seat goes back far enough, the steering wheel goes up far enough. The seats are very, very comfortable. So I would give this a strong 8, maybe 8.5 on the big guy scale. Very, very comfortable vehicle. Getting a little warm in here because I mentioned earlier that the air conditioning is not blowing cold, and I have the windows up. So I think I have said as much as I need to say. I did mention a little bit about the power buttons earlier. I normally just drive in regular normal mode. The power button will prolong the shifts, more for acceleration or more spirited driving, but this is not particularly a spirited driving vehicle, so there's that. But I appreciate you watching this video. If in fact this is something that people find interesting, I'll definitely do more, maybe a couple of them a month. I have several more vehicles that I could chronicle. Wagons and manuals is what I'm going to be focusing on. I'm open to all feedback, constructive or otherwise. Hopefully the video turns out okay. I'm not going to be doing a bunch of fancy editing at this point. We'll see what happens down the road. But thanks a lot for watching the video. I appreciate it. Y'all take it easy.